This podcast is brought to you by Primary Arms. Primary Arms seeks to provide the best shopping experience for everything firearms. With over 13,000 products from over 400 top brands, Primary Arms carries a complete selection of rifles, handguns, firearms parts, shooting gear, apparel, and more. Every order comes with a commitment to superior service, backed by fast shipping and an expert support team. Primary Arms, serving freedom since 2008. Find out more at frn.deals/PA. Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first rifle or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Garth Over.
How we doing?
And Tyler Brockle.
Hey.
Hey, and we are back maybe a week late. But,
we were busy.
I caught the plague.
I didn't.
I caught the mild plague.
Yeah, I wound up with 2 days of 102-degree fever, and
yeah, you really got screwed.
Yep, it was definitely the plague.
I'll probably catch it now that I'm actually home. After we got back from shot, I had 2 roundabout trips to Rapid City, so I just am finally back home. For the last 14 days, I've been on the road, 10 of them. So yeah, now it's going to hit me.
Sounds like a rough winter vacation.
It's so bad. I'm so thankful to be home. Got my puppers over in the chair. Everyone left me alone today. It was great.
Yep. Well, we would be remiss before we got into the show too far tonight, because we obviously, if you are going to be talking about things we saw at SHOT Show that we have to have, or that we had to look at, or things of the nature.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we did not talk about something that was going to happen tomorrow. So the date of this recording is January 30th, 2023. And tomorrow, or rather tonight at midnight, the ATF pistol brace hits the Federal Registry.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's when the 120 days nonsense starts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very interesting time because I do believe that this will get fought in the courts and struck down as unconstitutional because a governmental organization cannot make or amend laws. Only Congress can do that.
As we saw by the EPA lawsuit that happened last year.
Yep, and with the overturn of the federal bump stock ban right before SHOT Show.
Right.
So,
but not only that, even if it did go through, where I think they really shot themselves in the foot was with the 120 days, because that's just not, there's no way, if they're expecting, I saw one stat that they're expecting 60% of the 40 million estimated pistol brace weapons out there to be registered. There is no way that they can get that slammed and get all of those through in that 120-day marks. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Dooley, but from what I understand is if you submit and you do not get approved by that 120 days, you are automatically denied. Is that the case?
The actual number is 88. If they open it up, because with running these background checks, if they open the investigation and no action happens within 88 days, it is an automatic denial.
Right.
Now, the difference between doing a standard Form 1 and like what this is with the braced firearm, like they want you to send in your fingerprints, passport photos, everything like that, just like you would for a silencer, anything else to get this, free tax stamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
okay, if in the course of the 88 days, this goes through and it doesn't have anything happen to it because, you know, let's just say for a second that, you know, 20 million people. I'm not even going to say 60. I'm going to say if half the people, half of the brace owners send this in. I don't know if you've ever tried to do a silencer or anything like that. The amount of time it takes when those are going out and it's not getting bum rushed. There is no logistical way they can get that many approvals done in that
Agreed.
amount of time.
Yep.
And with an automatic denial, you just sent a photograph of something that is now classified as an SBR. Your address, fingerprints, and passport photo of the felony you committed, because like for a Form 1 for a standard SBR, there always had to be what was called constructive intent. And now remember that I am not a lawyer and none of legal advice. But constructive intent meant that, okay, I have all of this stuff. I'm waiting until I get my permission from the Crown to put the lock on this.
Yes.
But, you know, I haven't done anything yet. Now, that is where, you know, if you come in and see this, it's, oh, well, you obviously have, you know, the constructive intent to put this together. And if you purchase something that was legal and then, hey, it's suddenly not, and now you're a felon for something you legally purchased that was a legal product at the time, therein lies a bunch of problems. There's also a far bigger and farther reaching implication for this beyond just braced firearms. So it doesn't affect a lot of like AR guys as much because almost all the ARs are made, you know, in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But for like guys who like things like a Galil or a Scar or, you know, AK guys, anyone that has the pistol versions or like the Bren, if you had the pistol version of any of those, the ATF also says in that ruling that it does not meet 922R compliance. So if you have one of these imported firearms that was brought in as a pistol that, you know, was braced or something like that, they're now saying there's no possible way to make it 922R compliant, and you have to either destroy it or turn it into the ATF.
Good luck. I mean, I didn't say that out loud.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if they truly meant to fuck us or if they're just that incompetent.
The answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one.
Because, I mean, in reality, a gun only has two enemies, rust and politicians.
Yep.
And these aren't politicians, they're just bureaucrats.
Yeah, bureaucrats are just a worse form of politician.
Politicians are at least elected.
Maybe. Yeah. Let's not go there.
All right. Well, now that we have got the Debbie Downer stuff on that, so make sure everyone's paying attention. Guys, it is not too late. They are also doing a bunch of other stupid laws and coming after us and doing all kinds of stuff. Be in touch with your elected officials. You know, your Congress critter should know you by name. And get a hold of them and make sure that, you know, you are expressing your displeasure with these things with them. Now, be polite, be professional, and, you know, don't swear. But
don't do that, Tyler.
I'll ring it in.
You know, so those are very much so things that we need to be doing. But That's enough of Debbie Downer stuff. Did you guys do like any shooting since we got back from SHOT Show?
Dude, it was -18 when I woke up this morning. No.
I actually did. I got my hands on one of those new SIG P322s. Smoke and deal on it, and I am a huge fan. I know, Garth, you have one, but it's for those who don't know, this is SIG's new 22 caliber pistol. It's very similar, I think, frame wise to the macro.
It's about 80% size of a standard SIG.
Yep. And I'll admit I was very wary on it right away, just because of 22s are very finicky with ammunition. But man, I've ran some pretty decent 40 grain CCI through it, 40 grain Aguila, and then the really cheapo 38 grain Federal, and no issues whatsoever. Any issues I have had is because of the ammunition, but no stovepiping, no feeding issues. The things ran like a champ. And the biggest thing here is it comes stock with 20 round mags. I bought 25 round mags, and you can pull them down with your finger, so you're not, thumbing.
It does come with a speed loader too,
and it does come with a speed loader. I have nothing but great things to say. So I've just been on my way home, stopping at the indoor range here and just plinking at some steel. Or not steel, sorry. I've been plinking at I live in one of those bougie towns with an indoor range.
Yes,
watch the front sight on that thing because mine fell off.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's Glock style.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of. The only thing I don't like about 22s in general is everybody always puts a plastic sight on them for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, I went out and taught a class yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah, and shot outside.
Ooh.
And so, yes, I've back in the saddle, running that stuff again. It was a fun class. Not a lot of people, because apparently when you step out to the range at 9 degrees, people don't like to come outside.
Yeah, I get it. I bought a gun in Vegas, but not at the SHOT Show, so no hands need to be slapped. Actually, Nick has it right next to him. I don't care if you can show it off. Pretty sweet little gun. Picked up another SIG, so that's like enough. No, it's not. It's not enough. But
what SIG did you pick up?
I bought that one from Mike.
Oh, that's right.
He bought a gun that none of us knew existed
until Mike said something.
This is a Flat Dark Earth X5.
Now, they did just come out with one, but not this. This is like the pre-model.
Yes, this is from a while ago.
This isn't the X Legion. This is the X5.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited to have that, because you put an aftermarket trigger in there, and I can't wait to use that for competition. So it's gonna be sweet.
So it's the same thing as the X5, just minus the tungsten in the lower. Is that right?
Well, I did a little research on it, and the X5 Legion weighs 43 ounces, and this weighs like 35 ounces.
Okay.
So yes, it has to do with the tungsten in the grip, but it still has a weighted grip. It just doesn't have tungsten embedded.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So
they're like the tungsten polymer matrix, whatever they called it.
Pretty stoked about it.
Yes, it is a solid little firearm.
So yeah, that's about my extent of firearms and actually buying them, besides just going in. Oh, I met Jerry Mikulek. Let's just start with that, guys.
Yeah, I've been building. We fired up the mill, and we're working with that and slinging chips and doing some modifications for some customers, and like we've had a full week here at the world headquarters.
Dude, it feels like I was at SHOT Show 2 months ago. That's how long this whole 2 weeks has been.
Oh, no.
Yep. So since we've talked about it, and Garth got to meet Jerry, who is one of the nicest humans I've ever met.
I fangirled out so bad. I was deer in headlights when I seen him. I was like, oh, there's a legend.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I would equate it to a like fourth grader on the school ground getting introduced to their crush.
Yeah,
That's what it
100%.
felt like. Yeah. Because we're just sitting there and he's like, God, I'd love to meet him. And Mike was just like, oh, I'll go introduce you. No shit. Yeah, come on. And it was great. Mike walked right up. The whole crowd basically parted right up to Jerry. Yeah. Maybe it's like, who the hell are these guys?
Yep, that was real neat. Real friendly guy, real cool. Told us he'd come on the podcast. You know what? I'm not gonna hold my breath, but if he does, wow.
Yep. So that was obviously something cool that happened at SHOT. We got to meet up with a lot of our friends and other like, I hate to say media people, but that's kind of what they are.
We are kind of media people, apparently. I didn't know that we are media people now.
We are.
That was weird.
But yeah, so got to see and meet up with a lot of our friends there, so that's always a good time. Got to meet some of the listeners, some people who actually listen to the show.
Yeah, that was very cool.
It was super cool. I wasn't ready for that aspect of it. Like, people actually, well, not so much me, but you guys, like, taking into account what you guys actually like to say. I'm just here, but very cool to meet some people to listen to the show. So thanks for coming out.
Yes, we do thoroughly enjoy when we get to meet listeners.
Yeah.
I also have it on good authority. If you're looking for something to do with your summer vacation, we will be taking part in GunCon in Grinnell, Iowa. So there will be, panels and range days and things of the like that we will be involved in.
That is Brownell's event, for those of you who do not know. It'll be the second one that they're putting on. We went to the first one last year, and it was a blast. Brownell's had shooting events. They had a kind of trade show indoors, the panels, and then obviously the massive beer and bourbon garden that they threw up outside in the parking lot. World class.
Yes, so that will be enjoyable, and that is an event that is open to the public.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when those tickets go on sale, guys, if you would like to come and meet us,
and there will be a lot more.
There will be many more. Like,
if we're not good enough, there will be a lot more cool people there than us. I know.
John Patton will be there from the Gun Collective.
Yep. He's actually one of the main guys who puts it on. So shout out to John.
Yep. Big shout out to John. Sean and the crew from We Like Shooting will be there.
Yep.
I know that there'll be quite a few others who are planning on going as well. So it'll be a good time, folks. So start marking it on your calendars now.
What is it? June 24th?
I want to say yes, that's it.
Let me look it up. Last weekend in June, somewhere in there, yeah.
I have to look at the calendar because
my June 24 and 25.
Yes, my memory is not what it used to be for some reason.
Don't even have to fly to that one. We can drive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on top of obviously the wonderful things of meeting our listeners and stuff like that, there were a handful of products that everybody probably went, oh my God.
There's some cool ones.
And
too many.
I know that we all have a handful. It will probably be jumping on to visit with one another about the products that we saw and what we thought was the coolest.
We have like 6 months of interviews coming up.
Yeah. So guys, what was some of the coolest things that you saw? Like, let's go with the rifle first. Was there any rifles you saw that really?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take it, Tyler? Or I can. I don't care.
You start.
All right, it's AR platform, but it's not an AR, and you know exactly where I'm going with this. We're going to kick it over to Bond Arms, man. These guys are known Derringers, but they opened Pandora's box with this rifle. And I had an engineer who went, I just want to build the coolest lever gun there is. And he ended up building a 223 5.56 lever action, basically AR. And
so,
yeah,
if you have not looked at any other social medias or any magazine or any other, if we are the only firearms content you listen to and have just now heard of this for the first time,
then branch out.
I'm sorry we didn't do pictures and videos like everyone else did, but ostensibly this is a lever action rifle that takes 870 stocks. And you can put any AR-15 upper on it.
Yep. It's a proprietary lower,
Yep.
but everything else you can
well, and obviously the bolt carrier group and things of that nature because lever action.
Yep.
But if you can use an AR bolt and that's really what you need is an AR upper and the bolt for that caliber, and you're in business as long as it'll feed in a normal AR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 50 Beowulf, 458 SOCOM, 350 Legend, 300 Blackout. Oh man. And then 223, all of those things. The sky's the limit.
And the best part it was suppressor ready.
Oh yeah, that's going to be an awesome suppressor host. Tyler, did you have any
Oh man, not necessarily rifles. I was looking at a lot more unique accessories. One of them that I really liked was from Jaegerworks. It was a magnifier mount. I know all the rage this last year has been the Unity Point magnifier one, that kind of takes it from right behind the optic to basically rotates down, so it's right below or right above the upper pick.
Those Unity mounts have been out for a little while.
Yeah, but they seem to really explode within the last year. At least that's what I thought, because I've been seeing them all over the place now, social media and whatnot. But Jaegerworks came out with one. It's a little bit more complex in the term of the linkage, but instead of rotating up and down, it slides forward and back and down. And one of the big advantages there is that when you are looking down the optic, your eye does not naturally want to gravitate to one tube or the other, because the way that the magnifier sits on the optic, your eye would actually be looking into the top plane of the magnifier. So your eye naturally wants to go to the optic. It's a minor thing, but I have seen studies done on how much your eye saccades when it comes to looking at optics and looking at iron sights. But this one was pretty sweet, and they actually had it at the Trigicon booth. And when I was there, I commented on it. It just so happened that the owner of Jaegerworks was at the Trigicon booth when I was there. So I got to talk to them a little bit about that and its development. And I don't want to go too much more in depth because I'm really hoping to have them on in the future to talk about it.
Right on. I know that you were excited about that. I found a handful of rifles that I was actually really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Ruger Sapphire, their lightweight 308 AR-10, that was a very, very neat system that was set up just because it was such a unique take on well, not unique. It's lightweight. It's about the size of an AR-15, and it is a solid option.
Very cool.
And like I think it's more the fact that was the neat thing. The other one is there's a rather wild AR-10 that I saw, and it's one of those where I did not. It took me a little bit to find this one because the most people who saw it were actually at range day, which we weren't at.
Mm.
Well, we were at the law enforcement range day, so
Yep.
at least we did get some shooting in.
And it was, I want to say it wasn't Oracle, because that's who made the 2311.
Yep.
But Origin, maybe? They made, so it was a company that was making a long stroke. It was, or I shouldn't say long stroke, but it was an AR-10 that has the recoil impulse of a 223. So 308 that recoils less than 223.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Is this the one out of Idaho where the barrel?
Yep, the barrel moves like an M82. And if anybody doesn't know what an M82 is, it is a like the Barrett M82. Oh, Desert Cerakote. Yes, it was awesome seeing you as well. If you guys have checked out New Frontier Armory, the Desert Warrior rifle, Desert Cerakote's the guy who painted it.
It's a bang up job.
And I've seen they're doing 15 of those now, according to their social medias. So, guys, get one of those. They are awesome.
Better send our buddy Paul that way. It'll fit right with him.
Yeah. But no, so that's just one of those.
I know who you're talking about too, and I'm really annoyed because their name is slipping my mind.
It starts with an O.
They were right across from me last year at SHOT Show. So they had, my booth was right next to theirs. And I've talked to them quite a bit, and it's bugging me at the moment. It'll come to me.
All right. Well, when he jumps onto that later, I have rifles to talk about for days because I only have one really accessory thing. Well, I have one optic, well, two optics, and one from Primary Arms, our sponsor, and then another one from our friends over at Swamp Fox. But I had a couple optics that were really, really neat.
That red dot?
Well, which one?
Well, okay, the one that had the 200 millimeter circle.
The 200 MOA circle?
Yeah, MOA.
Yeah.
Circle. Yes. That was badass.
That thing. So this is a RMR style or a micro red dot sight that had the dot and the donut like you would think of for an EOTech or any of the other standard like reticles for a red dot. But it was a 200 MOA circle around the dot. You cannot see the circle inside of the window. Like all of it. You can just see a little bit of the edges as it goes around the window. But my God, did it make that thing fast to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about the Holosun one, Vulcan?
No, that was a Primary Arms.
Oh, was it a primary? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's really slick because if you don't get, when you present the handgun, or I guess rifle, if you don't have that thing perfectly centered, you will see the edge of this reticle, and you can automatically know which direction you need to turn the gun to correct.
Yep.
Big fan.
That might be the one I put on my competition pistol gun.
Yeah, that was a huge boon, I will say. Like I was legitimately impressed by that.
Oh yeah.
Very much so.
And Garth, you got anything else? Because I know you mentioned those two, or Tyler.
Tyler has one, I know that. So.
Oh yeah. There was one rifle from the company was 5150. And what was pretty cool about this is the upper receiver. Well, I guess the lower receiver didn't necessarily have your traditional takedown pins. And so your upper receiver essentially had, instead of the through holes that your takedown pins go in, they were a little clamp. And what it would do is you would slip it onto the forward takedown pin, and then it had an over center cam right below the buffer tube on the backside of the lower receiver. So essentially what it did was when you put your rifle together, you push the over center cam and it would suck the rifle down and back into the lower receiver, essentially eliminating all play between the upper and lower. So that makes for a more accurate gun. I also think it makes for a better feeling gun. But anytime you can take vibration and play out in an AR-15, it definitely makes for a more accurate weapons platform. And they had a pretty innovative way of doing it.
Olympus Arms.
What was that?
Olympus Arms.
Over
the
50?
No, the AR-10 that used the barrel.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? No, I'm pretty sure.
No, 5150. I'm sorry. It just came to me when we were talking about it.
I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I hope I didn't screw that up on air.
No, 5150 is who you guys are talking about. And that was a super, super neat.
Yeah, there was another cool I saw there was another company out there that, you know, they had something similar as well, but theirs worked with traditional upper receivers, right? So kind of handy. Obviously, both options are proprietary lower, but yeah.
Yep, those were neat, and it's pushing the industry in a new way.
Mm-hmm. You know, the other one I really liked, and we are going to have these guys on the show, so I don't want to give too much away, but Wrathworks. Yes,
Wrathworks.
I was surprised that hasn't been brought up yet. I was purposely avoiding it because I knew somebody was going to do it.
Well, I was excited to talk to the guys from Wrathworks or Wraithworks, however you pronounce it, because they make a CZ Scorpion 9mm PCC, and that's what I had seen from them first.
Yeah, I'm not a big Glock mag fan, especially on these PCCs. I do admit I do have one of the original PSAs, and I don't know, the mag doesn't go in as easy, and I just don't like the look. It's functional, don't get me wrong, but I know since PSA has switched over, and now I see Wraithworks offers it as well. So they're like, are they one of two companies? I don't know how many others offer the Scorpion mag on a AR-9.
Well,
there's 3 that I'm aware of.
Okay. So it's not as common as you think, though. That's what amazes me, because I know Scorpion mags are quite popular.
They are. I mean, the look looks a lot better than a Glock mag, a 33 round fun stick. I mean, it's just there. Yep. It doesn't have a design to it, but I still like them because they work the best, in my opinion. So,
well, your opinion can be wrong, and that's okay.
That's fine. I'll fight you about it later.
Now, the other thing that Wraithworks had, I will share this for anybody not viewing this live. They did a incredibly unique kind of new version of an AR. Like, this is one where they're again kind of pushing the boundaries. And this was like, the designer of this was talking to us, and he had just got all the carbon fibering back, and he was like, I'm sorry, the aluminum's, in the rod hasn't been anodized yet. And, proof research barrel and an ultra lightweight, brand new system that has, adjustable stock, for both comb height and length of pull, and, AR lower-ish components.
Basically what he's saying is this thing is light as fuck.
Correct.
And this isn't even their lightest rifle that they had.
Yeah, it's all carbon fiber and aluminum, basically. I mean, it
is. And then they changed how it works, so they had more. It was concentricity with the barrel for how everything slid back. So they changed a couple of the dimensions on the lower for like how your recoil impulse went through.
Mm-hmm.
And like they are legitimately trying to push the AR-15 platform to another level. And that is awesome. The other thing they had that was kind of neat was they have a full length 16-inch rifle, which if you're watching, you will see it's directly beneath that kind of space gun. It's black and silver.
Mm.
And that rifle weighs 5.1 pounds.
Yeah, it's light.
Yeah.
That is insanely light for a production rifle.
16-inch production rifle, yeah.
And yeah, it's got a fixed stock and all these things, and it has polymer receivers, both upper and lower. And somebody out there is going to leave us a nasty iTunes review. We mentioned polymer lowers and didn't automatically say like, oh, they're hot garbage. But these guys are actually pushing through and using like metal parts for the parts that are wear surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to do innovation.
Oh yeah,
So,
you have to.
Yeah, where you're doing innovation and things like that, looking at new materials for the people who are going to throw a fit because we mentioned like this might be cool with polymer and carbon fiber. I'm sorry, I don't like your Knights Armament as much as this. But like those are things that I get excited about. It is when we start moving industry stuffs forward.
Yep, that's. So you want to take it from there then? Next product. I mean, I don't want to dwell on one product too long because I want to have all these guys on and talk about it.
Yeah. Well, like the my one like gimme weird accessory was the Magpul DACA rifle cases.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those were interesting.
Those were cool.
Like, so I say this as a guy who has a handful of hard rifle cases and custom cut foam for some. And it's all right, well, I have custom cut foam to do this one thing, but it works really good for my precision 308 AR-10 that I built.
Mm-hmm.
If I try and throw like my little carbine or an SBR in it, it doesn't work anymore. It's not cut for that type of stuff. And the cool thing about the
multiple cases for different guns, and it gets expensive.
Yeah, and I have multiple cases for multiple guns, and
he does. I've seen them.
I have multiple foam for the same case. And when you start talking about that, where you're buying, foam at $100 a crack,
yeah,
just for the foam to do a different gun, like that starts to add up rather quickly. So when you look at even like the small things on Magpul's case, like the handles and hinges folded flat, the wheels were beefy and user serviceable. And some stuff like that where you can configure that grid depending upon what kind of rifle you have.
Yeah, so basically the interior, instead of using foam, it has these different types of
foam. Well, it's still a foam
blocks. Yes, but like not traditional where you cut it out and you tear it out.
It's a closed cell plug.
Yeah, they're like little blocks, and you can build a structure for your rifle inside your case.
It's Legos for gun cases.
Yep, yeah, and you don't destroy it. So you want to do a different gun in the future. You want to do add accessories to your gun instead of having cutting or having to reorder replacement foam. You just reconfigure the inside.
Or
freaking
buy a couple more because they sell like packs that you can have or more of the system.
Yep.
Right. Yep.
So like you can pack your handgun and your rifle together along with ammo and mags, and just it all comes down to how good are you at organizing.
Yep.
Like it's Tetris.
There you go.
And they look like Tetris too.
It's better. Tetris is way better way to describe
Yep.
it.
And I really, really enjoyed, like, that's another one where some of these things are stuff you look at and you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know.
Actually, that's the next one I'm going to talk about because I thought this was fantastic. And this is all about storage for me because I have a pistol right now, rifle, in my bedroom that I just don't know where I want to hold it. Do I want to buy one of those fancy mag holders and hang it on the wall? Do I want to lean up against my bed? How do I want to take care of my rifle or pistol in this case? And we found these guys, Magnitech, and what they basically just an M-lock magnet that you can screw under your gun and then into the stud of a wall and hang your rifle, and it detaches as soon as you grab it. And I was absolutely in love with it the second I saw it. He had it on a red dot optic, which you can buy mounts for. I would not personally do that myself, but as far as hanging the gun on a wall out of the way so it's not on my dresser in my bedroom is fantastic. And I am going to order some because I think it's a genius idea. So
I like those.
check them
I
out.
like that simple shit. That simple shit is always the best.
Oh, it's so great. Mounting flashlights, hanging them on the wall. I mean, they have a solid resistance rate on them. I don't remember what it is right now, but magnitech.com. Look them up. They're cool.
Yes, John, you are right. Tetris was in fact a Russian game first. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's actually like a TV series about it, or like they smuggled it out of Russia.
Really? Huh. Yeah. Netflix did a documentary?
Oh, it might be before the Netflix ones. Like but yeah, that was a thing. And
right on.
So, but speaking of Russian things, another company that is near and dear to our hearts, Palmetto State Armory. Man, they dropped all kinds of cool stuff this year. Like they had like whole new lines of product they're going to start having.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the Sturmgewehr, the STG 44. Like that's awesome that's actually going to be a thing because I guess like they purchased Hill and Mac. And so like this rifle's been years in the remaking. But
sure.
One of the things that I like loved and am most excited for is like I kind of fanboy out about the PSA Jackal.
Yes.
And they made one that like really, really, really starts to make you question, because like Magpul has their KS-47 AR lowers, which take AK mags, but they pins and AK fire control group and everything like that, but they take AK mags. And they're now making a Jackal in 7.62 by 39. And so it is an upper that goes onto a lower, a la an AR, but it's also a long stroke piston system with the piston on top of the bolt, a la an AK-47. But they fixed the charging handle so it's not stupid. And made it so that it fits people other than like starving conscripts and child soldiers. So like they're really blurring the lines of what an AK and an AR are. And it is a thing of beauty. But like the Jackal, for anyone who doesn't know, the closest thing to a competitor for that upper would be like the BRN 180.
Mm-hmm.
But a Jackal is a long stroke piston versus the BRN's short stroke piston. And long stroke piston rifles are kind of hard to find. So Thomas just commented, is it like a BRN 180? It is, but it isn't. So it's self-contained and bufferless. It does not need a buffer tube. So you can shoot it with a stock folded, but it runs a long stroke piston instead of a short stroke piston. And maybe we will do a show on the differences between them.
I was going to say, because I was going to clarify, like the long stroke, basically the piston itself is built into the BCG. So the gas, instead of pushing on a piston, which pushes on the BCG, the gas coming out of the gas block pushes directly onto.
Well, instead of hitting the op rod, which then hits.
Yep. I'm very bummed that I wanted to shoot one, right? Because it's got to be a completely different recoil impulse. Now, you were telling me, Dooley, when I was asking about it, that it has a better recoil impulse because you don't have as much complexity in the various parts touching each other in the system. However, when thinking about it a little bit more, you have a heavier mass that's reciprocating. And so I was thinking maybe wouldn't you have a little bit more felt recoil because of that?
No.
Why not?
So when you get into the mass reciprocating, so when we start talking about, all right, just a second, I'm going to put my nerd hat on. When we start talking about reciprocating masses and things of that as things are moving, remember that when we're talking about it in a traditional AR like platform rifle, that not only do you have the weight of the bolt carrier group, but you also have the weight of the buffer, the spring, and everything else moving. So when you move into an AR with a traditional piston system that is a short stroke piston with the op rod, you still have all that different mass moving. It just moves in multiple angles because your piston strikes the op rod, which then strikes the carrier, which goes back and pushes the buffer. So you're going to be about the same net weight.
Sure.
Only with less complexities.
Understood. Yeah, no, I was very, very interested in that Jackal.
I'm sorry, I blacked out for a second. Did I make sense? Also, like, remember that as that goes back, because the whole piston is attached to the buffer tube, that it'll be dispersing that gas pressure across a wider surface area. So think of it like a bored piston.
Fair enough.
So it'll be a lot harder to overgas.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a dedicated show on this because I want to dive into it so much more, but I'm like, nope, not this show. Not this show.
And Garth's going, he said reciprocating mass.
You're talking nerd things, man. Just let me shoot the damn gun, okay? I'll tell you if I like it or not.
But that was a very, very interesting setup, and I was happy to see that they're doing that in 5 calibers now, or maybe not 5. It's for sure 3, and now they're doing it in a pistol because they had a 9mm one as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if the 9 also ran off a piston or if that was just a direct blowback.
We need to pay better attention. We need to do videos next year.
Yeah, we need to see if we can get them on the show because now I am interested because SIG had a pretty freaking airtight patent on piston-driven 9mm PCC.
Not if it's a long stroke.
I know. That's why I'm thinking, shit, that would have been the way to get around it. So, yeah, we need to call Palmetto.
But anyway, I digress. Because they have a 9mm variant, they have 300 blackout 5.56 pistols and rifles, and then the 7.62 by 39 for you dirty commies.
Ugh.
And but There were a lot of other things that were just super awesome. Like there was some bullpup kits for an AR that were an interesting scenario.
Yeah, I saw one for a 1022. I chewed them out because it was not left-hand compatible. They looked at me like I was an idiot, so I walked away.
I would look at you like you're a freak, but okay.
That was just because it hurts.
The other, another product that I absolutely loved is one that they announced at SHOT Show that will be coming out soon. It's from our friends at Swamp Fox, and that is their micro prism.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was neat. Which I do have that video. We did a video on that one. I gotta release it. I forgot about that. So check out the Instagram. Well, I did the one on the Tomahawk too. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait a few days to let that one simmer. And then then I just became a shitbag. I need to release that. So it's coming. It's coming.
Yep. So they had that. Swamp Fox had a ton of new optics.
Yeah.
Updated versions of their Liberty, Justice, and the Sentinel. Updated LVPVOs. They got a new MVPO coming out.
Yep.
And just in time for me to have ordered an MVPO, they came out with a new one. Because naturally, that's how I work.
Oh, correct. They are also having another Rocky Mountain Range Day next year. And I think we will try and go to that too if we can. So they normally host that in September. So look for more info on that from us.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Right during harvest.
Yes, very much so. But as we keep pushing through with here we have one. So Wayne popped in. This is one that we probably should mention, or we would be remiss without mentioning.
Yep.
The Hollow Sun holographic thermal, and night vision. Granted, we didn't get to play with the night vision variant of it because, SHOT Show is during daylight hours, and they did not let us walk into a dark room with it. What were your guys' thoughts on that thermal? Like I've actually dove pretty deep into it since.
Yep.
And what did you guys think?
So for those of you listening, basically Hollow Sun is coming out with an NVG and thermal version of a reflex sight. I would say it's just a tiny bit bigger than a EOTech holographic weapon sight. So they're not like the massive things that you've traditionally seen. And I think the price point duly right around $1,000-$1,200.
There was 4 different price points that I'd heard, because they had like, this is $1,000 for the night vision one. This is $1,200 for the entry level thermal one. This is $2,000 for the Thermal Pro.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really innovative because it is a CQB reflex sight that night vision or thermal. There are 2 different variants, but they had I don't know what the best term is, but like an augmented setting where you can look all night vision or all thermal, or you can do the augmented setting where it will still highlight basically the thermal or the bodies. But
and how you switched between what Tyler's calling augmented, I called it a holographic projection.
Yeah.
Basically, the background is still actual real life, what you're seeing, but then it highlights the actual human bodies.
Well, and how you switched between it was you put the lens cover up on the front.
Oh yeah, okay.
that was how you switched modes, because I was playing with it. I talked to the guy. I was like, "So how do you do this?" He's like, "You do this." And then he had some fancy term, and I went, "You put the lens cover up." And he looked at me like I was an asshole.
You are an asshole.
And I went, "Okay." He goes, "Well, I guess if you want to put it that way." I was like, "Well, I'm looking through a red dot. I see the red dot. I see all this, and I hit the okay. Let's go thermal, and then it paints the thermal image over top of what you're seeing. So that's where you have the augmented reality version of it,
Yeah.
or you flip it closed, and now all you see is the thermal or night vision, however you wanted to put it.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think it's really neat. I think it is good to see the barrier for entry for that stuff coming down.
Yes.
I know that it had an 8-power digital zoom. The sensor that they shipped with is only, or that they are using, is only good for 68 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very far.
Well, that's just my thought is behind it. What are you buying it for? Are you going to go out and shoot coyotes with it? Probably not.
Well, like, so guys down south where they have things like trees,
Yeah.
like hunting hogs, 68 yards is probably, like in the realm of, yep, that would work. Like I could run this and shoot hogs at 68 yards.
Yeah. Okay. Forgive me. I was thinking about just shooting in Free America. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where, like, even if you get out into the Black Hills or something, your shots are going to start to get a little bit shorter than what we have in our backyard. And
I guess the hunting point's unique because I really took it as more of a CQB type thing.
yep. And yes, your living room without turning on any lights would totally work, Thomas. But in running through this, it was a very unique system to be set up. I probably will not be running out to purchase one.
Yeah. If I had the money, I definitely would. But yeah, at the moment, I'm going to see how it pans out. I'm guessing it's going to. I'm willing to bet it's going to drastically improve over the with the second generation.
And it definitely will. But
I'm gonna let someone else figure out the Gen 1 problems before I go buy it.
The reason why I say I would not, I own rifles that have rifle mounted, night vision capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I've shot a lot of thermals, rifles with thermal optics on them,
mm-hmm.
and have played a lot with weapon mounted, night and thermal vision systems. And having used them all, I'm more and more coming to the fact of I need helmet mounted night vision so I can actually see what the fuck is going on.
At all times? Yeah.
Instead of just when I'm looking through the rifle, and then either, run a PVS 14 on my non-dominant eye, and then going through, looking at that, and then running, where you can still run an IR laser, which is the only time lasers are cool, is if they are IR. And using that for aiming devices where you could still pull up and engage with your optic if you had to get that more accurate shot, if you were looking to doing something other than the CQB.
Mm.
But again, that gets into an entirely different school of shooting.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hollow Sun in general as a company, I do like their optics. I do have, I think a couple of them. I've played with a lot of them before, and they appear to be reliable. They are definitely, I think, a mid-tier in terms of price, which is really good. And I do know a lot of guys. I've been seeing a lot of images coming out of the Ukraine war where guys are actually using them on their battle rifles in the field. So they're obviously functioning fairly well. So I don't think you can go wrong with Hollow Sun at all.
Oh no, they're a solid value for the optic. For so somebody's going to be like, oh, they had Chinese optic, and yes, they are, but so is most everything. Tell me again how much you hate Chinese products from your phone that was definitely not assembled there.
Assembled. Fuck, the whole thing.
You know what? You just make a TikTok about it and send it to us, okay? And while you're doing that, he can rip off all your information. So,
but let's see. So we talked about the HoloSun. We talked about. Oh man, I'm trying to think. Let's see, there was a handgun that somebody was hot to trot about.
Yeah, I'm pretty gay porn hard for that. I can't wait till that one comes out.
You're right. That Rock Island Armory 5.0.
I thought we were talking about the High Point 10 millimeter.
I did stop by the High Point booth to say hi to those guys.
Yep.
I did meet him at Brownells last year, but no, we went and checked out the Oracle Arms 2311. This thing's pretty sick. It's coming out in the next, they say 3 months. We'll see. But basically what it is, it's a 2011 pistol that made sweet, sweet love with a SIG P320 and popped out the 2311. So it's a 2011 style pistol. So you got the really nice trigger, you got the hammer on it as well, but it takes 320 mags. And for somebody like me who has invested fairly heavily in 21 round SIG mags, this thing really intrigues me. Price point starts out at $2,000 MSRP. They got several different variants of it, from a combat elite to a basic combat to an EDC to a full competition pistol. But I think the highest price was $3,000, so it's right on par with the Staccatos and the STIs of the world. But phenomenal grip to it. Yeah, I am very excited for it to come out, and I'm really hoping I can maybe even T&E one.
The one with the square barrel is the Rock Island Armory, the RIA 5.0. And I just had to get Tyler going on the.
Hey, I've almost bought one of those Rock Island Armory 2011s before in the past. I just never pulled the trigger on it.
See what you did there. The other cool thing about that 2311 is, so it is, for other gun nerds, it runs Series 70 1911 fire control parts. So that's what it has. It has a different method for capturing. It uses a SIG 320 recoil spring, but has a barrel hookup, a barrel link system that is more like a CZ. And again, that's getting into the minutia gun nerd part of it. And hey, I have a Rock Island Armory 1911 that I have beat the ever living hell out of, and I absolutely love it. Granted, I think the only parts of that are still Rock Island are the frame and slide.
Rock Island.
No, the frame is Rock Island, and it says it on the slide. But I've had the slide milled. And I've changed every other possible internal part out because that's the gun I learned to gunsmith on.
All right on.
But let's see. I'm trying to think of, because there's a lot of products at SHOT that I see that I walk around. I'm like, oh man, that's super neat.
No, it had its own custom grips there, John. So
anything else that was there that was just trying to stand out in my memory?
Do you guys want to talk about any of the multiple training systems we encountered?
Well, we have a bunch of the laser and cool fire stuff that'll be coming on. Okay. And I do know that one thing we saw that was cool, that is a little bit different.
Are you talking about at the strip club?
No, I'm not talking about that thing we found on You Later. But no, as we go through here,
please clarify.
The thing we found on You Later, or the no, when we went through and saw our friends over at VZ Grips, and VZ Grips are great because they're made from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered in mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, color options and shorty versions available. 1911 grips, CZ grips, Beretta grips with standard slim palm swells, thumb notches, safety cuts, and bottom profiles. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. This coupon is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 pod. You know one other thing that they had?
What's that?
Daggers.
Oh, the daggers.
No, this is not the pistol from Primary Arms.
Nope.
Or I'm sorry, from Palmetto State Armory. No, these
are
devices. These are stabbies and slices from VZ grips that are made out of a solid block of G10. So the handy thing is,
excited to find one of those.
They don't go. They don't set off metal detectors.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what we want to tell.
Like allegedly, I don't know.
Well, we only did get of all the bars we went into that didn't allow stabbies. We were only entered into one that actually checked us, and I only had to give up one of the three that I had on me, so they obviously didn't check us very well. It would have been so much easier just to have those.
Which one was that?
the one you probably got the most fucked up at, Garth.
Oh yeah, the dollar beer bar.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought you were being sarcastic. Yeah, that fucking hole in the wall that you took us to.
I know what you're talking
about. Yep. No, when we did that was. It is always interesting when they do things like that. It's like, no, I don't have a knife.
That's my belt buckle. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, we had a lot of fun at SHOT Show. We will have a lot more material coming out. And speaking of material coming out, SHOT Show is just a giant gear drop. And you know what else is? Tac Pack. Tac Pack is a monthly gear drop straight to your door. Each month they send a new box with tons of gear. So whether you're into survival gear, knives, gun cleaning kits, parts, or more, Tac Pack always has gear for you. This code is for new subscribers and new subscribers only, and you will get an additional $70 in free gear that will ship separately from your first Tac Pack. And that code is AR-15 podcast.
There was one guy who wasn't at SHOT Show, and I was a little bummed that he wasn't there, but I understand it because they were giving him out left and right. But I think he still makes the best damn patches out there, and that's Patriot Patch. PatriotPatch.co, guys. If you want some sweet patches, go check those guys out. They have tin signs. They have mouse pads or cleaning pads. I prefer to use them as mouse pads. Or they have pop culture patches. They have morale patches. They have it all. So go check those guys out at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
I walked around the whole week with my director of rooftop operations patch.
Mm-hmm.
And I had more people try and steal that from me.
Oh, yeah. What booth did you get that from? Oh, that's from home. You can't have that.
Yeah, where did you get that? PatriotPatch.co. Go there. You can get it too. What do I got to trade for that? You can't.
You trade cash.
Yeah.
No, as I go through and think about it, we saw our friends from the AR-15 takedown tool. They had a whole new system where they changed up kind of how some of their materials on some stuff and really refined that. a whole armorer's kit that was super solid.
Mm-hmm. I also want to give a shout out to Bill over at Otis. You know, they had a great beer garden set up there over at the Otis booth that we hung out for a couple hours. So that was fantastic. Shout out to Rachel and Pat over at Night Vision. They also let us go and drink their beer at their booth on one of those days as well. And then obviously Tyler and Miles and everybody over at Swamp Fox for parties that they got us into.
The good people at Huxworks.
Good people at Huxworks. Yeah, they had a great go-to. And I need to get that frickin' last bonus that's coming into me from the military because I need to seriously drop some love on Huxworks and get their cans on my guns.
Well, as it turns out, I know an SOT.
Yeah.
There's one other thing we haven't talked about, and that's what a crazy the craziness that the world has become. And do you want to keep you and your loved ones safe in these uncertain times? Are you looking for a full kit setup or just to upgrade what you already have? Then you need to look at Predator Armor. Quality American-made armor and accessories, not some cheap junk from across the Pacific. From lightweight, flexible backpack armor to full plate carriers with plates and IFAKs that are full of products to save you and other people, Predator Armor has it all. Use code AR-15-10 for 10% off.
Get some.
Kraken.
Yeah, I can't say for direct for the 509T, but I do have a Kraken, and I do dig it.
Yeah, Kraken all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not sponsored by Swamp Fox.
We are not.
However, if you're listening, I can be bought. Well, guys, I think that pretty much will start to wrap it up for the evening here. We have a lot of interviews coming down the pike. We're going to get back to some other. We have those things coming down, but we have some very, very AR specific content coming up. Some super nerd stuff, some new product stuff. And maybe, just maybe, some crossover with other podcast stuff.
Hopefully, yes.
And giveaways. More giveaways coming up.
Yes. Also, guys, we need you to write in with your best spells for this latest giveaway for the next time Tyler goes LARPing. and whoever sends in the best spell will get a Sequence Precision muzzle device.
There we go.
So write in with those spells, like Harry Potter style.
Yes.
And whoever makes us laugh the most will get a muzzle device.
Yeah, I better give the background on that really quick. So
please don't.
No, you don't. You just want to leave it hanging.
No, go ahead.
No, I had a videographer come out to the range to do product shots with me one day, and we kind of had our little powwow at the start of the day, and I said, well, we'll take some shots of the firearms, we'll take some shots of the gear, and then at the end I'll get my stuff on and we'll just start LARPing. And he said okay. And a couple hours later, I'm like, all right, let's get our LARP on. And I began to put on my body armor and my my helmet and all that. And he goes, oh, that's what you meant. I thought you were going to start putting on some fucking like wizard robes and suits of armor and shit. So I'm just like, nope, this is LARPing in the real world.
Yes. So send us your best spells. And we will see what we can do with that. But guys, you got anything else to add for the day?
No, we haven't even scratched the surface of SHOT Show. We've got a lot of interviews coming down the pipe here, hopefully in the next 6 months for you guys. And so just hang in. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yep. Make sure you check us out. Facebook at AR-15 Podcast. We have a lot of new content from the SHOT Show on Instagram at AR-15 Podcast 2.0. You can find us on YouTube as well under the same name. If you guys have any questions, you want to make any comments directly to us, feel free to reach out at AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com. And as always, you can listen to us on the firearmsradio.net, Spotify, and pretty much any place else that you can listen to your podcasts.
Yep, and you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed. Do you want to support the show? Subscribe and interact on social media. AR-15 Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 at gmail.com if you just want to drop us a line. Find us online at firearmsradio.net. Click through our sponsors and support the people who support our show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, Predator Armor, TacPack, and Patriot Patch Company.